Imagine standing in front of a mirror and not recognizing the person looking back at you. Not because your reflection has changed, but because somewhere along the way you stopped believing in yourself. You see flaws, failures, and fears, but not your worth. Today, we're going to unlock something powerful, something that has been buried beneath doubts, rejection, and silence. Your self-belief. Because the truth is, you are enough. Self-worth is not just a feel-good phrase. It's the foundation of how we live, how we love, and how we dream. Without self-belief, opportunities slip away, relationships suffer, and dreams shrink. With self-belief, mountains feel like hills, and what once felt impossible becomes achievable. This isn't about arrogance, it's about recognizing your value, your unique voice, and your potential. In a world that constantly tells us we're not enough, reclaiming that belief is a radical act of strength.
Let me tell you about Emma. Emma grew up in a small town. From a young age, she loved painting, her notebooks, her walls, even her shoes. But every time she showed her work, someone would say, "It's good, but you'll never make a living out of it." Slowly, those voices became her own. By the time she entered college, she had stopped painting altogether. She chose a safe career path that drained her but pleased everyone else. One night, after a long, exhausting day, she opened her old sketchbook. Flipping through pages filled with color and life, she broke down in tears. That night, she made a decision. Not to quit her job immediately, not to chase instant success, but to start painting again. First, a few minutes before bed, then an hour each weekend. 2 years later, Emma held her first gallery exhibition. Not because someone else told her she was good enough, but because she finally told herself, "I am enough." Emma's story reminds us that believing in yourself isn't about proving others wrong. It's about proving to yourself that your worth doesn't vanish just because others can't see it.
Psychologists describe self-worth as the belief that you are valuable, regardless of achievements or external validation. According to research, self-belief strengthens resilience, increases motivation, and improves mental health. The famous psychologist Carl Rogers said, "The curious paradox is that when I accept myself just as I am, then I can change." Neuroscience also shows us that the brain forms pathways through repeated thought. When we constantly tell ourselves, "I'm not good enough," those pathways deepen. But when we start affirming our value, through words, actions, and choices, we literally rewire our brains toward confidence and possibility. Self-belief isn't just emotional, it's biological. But let's be honest, it's not easy. Comparison. Social media makes us feel like everyone else is winning while we're falling behind. Past failures. One mistake can echo louder in our minds than 100 small victories. Voices of others. Sometimes the people closest to us unintentionally plant seeds of doubt that grow into forests of insecurity. Fear of rejection. We stop trying because we're terrified of hearing no. These obstacles are real, but they don't have to define us. A wall is only permanent if you stop looking for a way around it. So how do we rebuild self-belief? Here are steps you can start today. 1. Mirror talk. Every morning, look yourself in the mirror and say one sentence that affirms your worth. I am capable. I am enough. It might feel silly at first, but repetition builds belief. 2. Celebrate small wins. Keep a notebook of every little success. Whether it's finishing a workout, sending an application, or simply getting out of bed on a hard day. Over time, this list becomes a personal library of proof. 3. Limit comparisons. Follow accounts and surround yourself with people who inspire, not those who drain you. Curate your environment to protect your belief. 4. Step outside comfort zones. Choose one small action each week that scares you. Speaking up in a meeting, sharing your art online, starting a conversation with a stranger. Courage grows when exercised. 5. Practice gratitude. Write down 3 things you appreciate about yourself every night. Gratitude shifts focus from what you lack to what you have. Self-belief isn't built in a single moment. It's built in daily choices.
Now let me share Alex's story. Alex had always been shy, convinced he had nothing valuable to contribute. In school, he avoided raising his hand even when he knew the answer. As an adult, he worked in an office where his ideas went unspoken and unnoticed. Deep down, Alex dreamed of becoming a speaker. But how could someone who could barely introduce himself in meetings ever stand on a stage? One day, a mentor challenged him to share a 2-minute story at a local community event. His hands shook, his voice cracked. But he finished, and something surprising happened. People clapped, and someone even said, "Thank you, I needed to hear that." That moment became a spark. He didn't become a world-famous speaker overnight, but he kept speaking, small groups, then larger audiences. Years later, Alex now delivers motivational talks worldwide. His journey shows us that self-belief isn't about starting big, it's about starting small but starting anyway.
Think of self-belief like planting a seed. At first, it's hidden underground, invisible to others, maybe even invisible to you. But with water, sunlight, and time, it grows into a tree that provides shade, fruit, and beauty. Or imagine learning to ride a bike. At first, you wobble, fall, and scrape your knees. But each attempt builds balance. Self-worth works the same way. You may stumble, but every step forward makes you steadier. We often think self-belief is something others can give us, but here's the truth. No one else can ride the bike for you. They can cheer, they can guide, but you must pedal. So what have we learned today? Self-belief is the foundation of how we live and dream. Stories like Emma and Alex remind us that believing in ourselves can change the course of our lives. Science proves our brains can rewire through repeated positive thoughts. Obstacles like comparison, past failures, and fear are common but not permanent. Daily practices like affirmations, celebrating small wins, gratitude, and courage exercises rebuild our confidence. Your worth does not depend on others' approval. It has always been inside you, waiting to be acknowledged. So here's my challenge for you. Tonight, before you sleep, write down 3 things you value about yourself. Tomorrow morning, look in the mirror and say out loud, "I am enough." Then take one small action that reflects that belief. Send the email, post the artwork, speak up in class, apply for the job. And remember, every step, no matter how small, is proof that you believe in your worth. Because you don't need to become someone else to be valuable. You already are. So stand tall, breathe deep, and carry this truth into tomorrow. You're enough, and you always have been.